Welcome to the press conference for the Ole Miss Rebels. We're joined by head coach Yolette McPhee McEwen and student athletes Marquisha Davis and Kennedy Todd Williams. Coach, do you do an opening statement? I'm about to ask. Okay, we'll begin with an opening statement from Coach Yo, and then we'll take questions for the student athletes, and then we'll dismiss the athletes back to the locker room, and then take questions for Coach.
Incredible game. Incredible game. We knew that Florida would really push us. It has not been a walk in the park. Anytime we've played them, Tharu is super talented. They have a lot of experience. And, you know, people try to say, oh, it's their third game. It's tough. Once you get rolling, it's about will in tournament time. So we didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe at all. We were prepared to play a game like this, and we just knew at some point we needed to sit down and stay true to ourselves, which was on the defensive end. Super proud of a lot of performances by, obviously, Marquisha. My big three, Madison Scott, Kennedy Todd Williams. But I thought my freshmen and sophomores came in and did some really good things. That was huge for us. So all in all, excited about another opportunity to be in the semifinals. I think 3 years in a row, 3 years in a row. So Ole Miss women's basketball is here.
Questions for the student athletes? Please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you. Jack first, and then over here.
Thank you. Jack Meyer from the Independent Florida Alligator. Kennedy, I want to start with you as the anchor of the Ole Miss backcourt. Aaliyah, obviously, she was firing on all cylinders throughout the tournament. So just what was your guys' game plan to keep her in check and slow her down as the game went on?
Yeah, it was really to just, make her see bodies, really stop the ball, just keep her in front. She's a tough guard, but we had to just lock into the defensive end and really just, be there for the drive and for her threes, just contest all shots.
Mm-hmm. And then Marquisha, obviously, just box score says enough about the incredible game that you had. Aaliyah was also, trading blows with you. At any point, did it feel like you two were just like going like band for band out there, just like fighting, just trying to see who would prevail for their team?
I mean, probably. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
How did you feel about just your own individual performance then? Just obviously, like a 30 pieces, a lot. It's very impressive against a tough Florida defense at that. So just how'd you feel about your own individual performance?
I felt good about it. I felt like I was very intentional on getting to the basket, and when I was intentional, I was able to get the drives that I got.
Thank you.
Then we'll go over here.
Gracie Barra, WCBI Sports. Kennedy, can you just touch on how incredible it is to play alongside someone that can drop 33 like this in a game this important?
Yeah, Marquisha, she's tough. Okay, she's a first-round draft pick for sure. But she's man, stop sleeping on her. Honestly, I mean, Quee's very fun to play with. Getting those the outlets to her. EPAs, it's super huge because she's able to, score on our three levels. And, as an experienced player, it's fun to play alongside Marquisha.
For either of you, Coach Yo was just talking about that, playing a team 3 times. It's hard to beat them 3 times. What helped you guys today to beat Florida 3 times?
Yeah, just staying disciplined, being, trusting who we are. Defense wins games, and defense travels. We can't rely on our offense all the time. It's a neutral site. We're not going to get the calls that we want to get. So it's just about, staying true to who we are and just doubling down on the defensive end.
And then you finished the game on a 14-3 run. I mean, how were you able to stay that disciplined, I think, in the last 2.5 minutes?
Keeping that composure, not getting too high or too low, and just, keeping steady. Just, holding on to each other, and, playing together as a team to, come out with the win.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Ladies, thank you. You can be dismissed back to the locker room.
Thank you.
Kui, I got a question. Why did you miss 7 free throws? You'd have had 40.
I can't understand.
We'll take questions now for Coach Yo. Here, We'll go for you first.
Grace.
Grace,
It's good to see you.
what's going on?
You just mentioned that 3 years in semifinals, 4 years in a row that you've won a game in the SEC tournament. What makes your team so effective in the SEC tournament?
You know, I just think my mentors always told me that, you have to have your team singing Kumbaya in March. Doesn't matter what happens in January, doesn't matter what happens in February. It's up to the head coach to make sure everyone's hugging each other and singing Kumbaya in March. And so we love each other. Our team is in a great place mentally, and I think that's something that as a staff we've always taken pride in, like just making sure that our team is ready to go for postseason.
So you mentioned that beating Florida 3 times is no easy task. You guys have also endured your fair share of chaotic finishes against the Gators. Last time out in Gainesville, overtime, started the period off on a 10-0 run. This time around, pretty much like a photo finish. So just how do you feel about what are your thoughts on this Florida squad, like just what they've been capable of as Kelly continues to build up the program?
I think Kelly does a great job. I have a lot of respect for her. Anytime we play Florida, it gives me heartburn, just because of their style. It's a very difficult style to play against, and her guards are so relentless. They're able to get downhill anytime they want. And honestly, for us, I know, it's 2 ways you want it in tournament play. You either want to blow someone out so you can rest your kids and you could play, or you need a game like this because, honestly, we were sick and tired of sitting around. We really wanted to play. And so for us to play in this fashion, I think it's perfect to prepare us for the opponent that we have next.
Speaking of the opponent that you have next, obviously going to be a tough task tomorrow, but just what are your thoughts on your team as of right now and just expectations going into tomorrow's matchup?
I just expect us to just stay true to who we are, defend at a high level, not get too high or too low. We remember we had opportunities when we played them at our place, and I don't know that we were ready for the moment. I do think my team is ready for the moment, but we're gonna have to come to play because they have a bunch of WNBA players on their roster, and so really looking forward to the challenge.
I saw you tweeted that picture with Charlie Cream yesterday. What did you tell him? And then how do you think a performance like tonight, stringing 7 in a row, is going to affect that?
I made my case for getting off for that 8-9. I told him I was disappointed that he still had us on the 8-9 line. We moved to the 7. But he told me I had to win a couple if I wanted to get to that 6 line. And so I think Charlie does a great job. And I like to, anytime I can promote Ole Miss women's basketball, and I will. And I'm a straightforward type of gal. So when I realized that was him, I went over and saw and tried to see if I could kind of butter him up a little bit. But the reality is he doesn't have a say. He's just an expert, and it was a cool opportunity to ask him what it would take to be able to move up.
Any other questions for Coach Yo? All right,
Thank y'all.